Hicknet and the movie Prince. In relation to the phase in the name of Nicolas Poussin's painting hanging in the Louvre Museum in Paris depicting that it's death's proclamation, even in Arcadia, I exist, meaning et in Arcadia ego. That's even the most paradisiacal of places where demise still exist. Arcadia, by the way, is where the Illuminati call every place they started a new homeland. When they left the Garden of Eden, they went to Arcad, then Arcadia, first Greece, then inland toward Central Europe, and then finally across North America to what we now call, in the area of Nova Scotia, the eastern side of Canada, Acadia. Everywhere this bloodline went, they named it a similar namesake of Arcadia, which described Arcadia in the very earliest of days, where the earth was tilted on no tilt, straight up and down, vertical, facing the sun. One long, endless summer. A very significant line. And if so, then is not this land of angels, shining ones, Anunnaki, Nephilim, etc., really a place in time or out of time, being the land, world, or age of the upright axis, as indicated by the upraised finger. The other index finger in over 20 John the Baptist paintings are pointing at 23.5 degrees, as if referencing the world as it is now. And if so, then this would mean that the upraised finger can only be a reference to the world as it was then, before the fall of man. For example, it would have been the cause of the tilting of the earth, which in turn caused the flood, the Great Flood, and possibly the sinking of Atlantis, the homeland of these so-called land of angels, the shining ones, the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, the aliens. Now, remember, these are but the traditional beliefs of an influential group of people, the Illuminati, who are like the Angel Society, written of by Maurice Barr, who have encoded references in various sources throughout history, leading us to what appears to be an ancestral memory of a cataclysmic pole shift, a cataclysmic event that brought an end to their golden age paradise, secretly referred to as Arcadia, destroyed their homeland of an advanced race and culture, and very nearly wiped out the entire human race. It's possible that the beliefs of these people also gave rise to the Synarchist movement, whose founder, Yves Saint Dalverde, who lived from 1842 to 1909, and his earliest supporters, who were Papists, who lived from 1865 to 1916, slightly outlived him, also wrote about the catastrophic changes on Earth due to the changing tilt of the Earth's polar axis, a polar shift. Author Michael Lamy also writes about this angelic society in a book called Jules Verne, Initiate and Initiator, published in 1984, and says that another name for this society was Le Brouillard, meaning mist or fog or clouds, probably alluding to its secret or hidden status as a sort of persecuted church of light. Lynn Picknett, the author, in the 1997 movie Prince, concludes that the Priory of Sion was and is a front for these synarchists, whose initiates were believers in the polar tradition, amongst other things, about the belief in the loss of an advanced culture whose homeland was destroyed. It was the result of a global catastrophe which resulted in the Earth becoming tilted 23.5 degrees from the ecliptic. It's also about the one individual believed to be the king of the world who represented this advanced culture and personified the golden age when the Earth was upright. Maybe a remarkable individual who was seen as God. Space, back with more on A View from Space on Talk Radio AM 640 in a minute.
Goes deeper into today's headlines than anyone else dares to go. But you can take it. This is A View from Space with the Spaceman on AM 640.
Spaceman, AM 640, and A View from Space. You can email me, spaceman at 640toronto.com or space at 640toronto.com. I'm talking about the John the Baptist point. A finger in over 20-some classic art pictures hanging in places like the Louvre in Paris, all the great museums. These pictures, painted by the so-called masters, have a secret with John the Baptist, and the inclination or angle of his finger as he's pointing in these many pictures at exactly 23.5 degrees. Exactly the same exact degree that the Earth is tilted from the Sun. The Illuminati believe originally the Earth was not tilted at all, but in fact vertical, and there were thousands of years of just pure sunshine. No cold temperatures, no differences in climate anywhere on the Earth. Whereas now, with a 23.5 degree tilt, of course, we have winters, freezing cold, and then hot summers. The perfect world ruined by a cataclysmic event. I believe the Illuminati want to believe this myth so bad they are actually going to recreate this shock of what they call a polar axis shift, whether it will be a nuclear war, because after all, haven't we been told lately, brainwashed, or working on brainwashing us, that, for instance, the earthquake that happened recently in Japan actually moved the floor of the ocean, moved continents a few feet, giving you the impression that if we were, say, involved in a great nuclear Holocaust war, that it could possibly shift the Earth, or hit by another planet, a comet, or some other object from outer space, of whatever happens. I believe the International Space Station is going to figure prominently in the middle of. I believe it's going to be the control center for this conflagration that's coming upon the Earth, to, of course, convince us all that it's one government, one leader, one economy being the only answer. Because you see, the Illuminati believe that it's also about the one individual, believed, as I said before the break, to be the king of the world, who represents this advanced culture and personified the golden age when the earth was at a vertical stance, not tilted, pre-flood. They believe he's a remarkable individual who was seen as God. He's coming again to run this one world system we're on the verge of. But not before the cataclysmic event, the one that will cleanse the earth of the unwanted ones. Indeed, people believed his spine of this one individual represented the axis of the earth, and vice versa. And it was believed that he continually reincarnated on earth to correct the imbalance caused by this catastrophe, and therefore bring the earth back to its former position in line with the Godhead and the source center of creation. It was and is believed that the inclined earth reflected the same imbalance in the collective human consciousness and vice versa. So, the teachings of the Messiah, who reincarnates to deliver his message, is based on this original resurrection God. You see, the Illuminati believe there have been many Messiahs. Jesus is just the latest one to come, and another is coming. This same, again, reincarnated individual who is God. They're going to stage his presence and appearance once again. Again, that's why the teachings of the Messiah who reincarnates to deliver this message and is based on the original resurrection God. You see, the Illuminati believe the original resurrection God was Osiris, also known as the Green Man, and the Gospel allegory concerning the beheading of John the Baptist, who is also depicted with green skin in some paintings, is really a reference to the spiritual source, the Godhead of Osiris, which was later supposedly lost, and so it's most probably his tomb, or rather his head, that is marked by the rose line. The original 0 prime meridian, or his head that marks the rose line. This is known as the Holy Grail. Now, Are the Illuminati going to stage a global catastrophe?